Many people think buying an iPhone is simple, but the real cost of owning one for 3 years can be surprising. For a normal user, the total amount can be around $503, which is about $14 every month. However, if you use a lot of Apple services, buy many accessories, or often upgrade your phone, the total money you spend can become very high. It can even be like buying a luxury car over time for some users. This shows that the initial price of the phone is not the only cost. This book will show you the hidden economics of Apple's world. We will explore 3 important parts that make up the real cost. First, we will look at the phone's hardware and how it keeps its value well. This can make the iPhone a good deal when you want to sell it later. Second, we will talk about Apple's ecosystem and how it makes it difficult for you to leave. This is known as lock-in, where your data and apps keep you tied to Apple products and services. Third, we will think about the wider effect on the environment and your wallet from this unique way of owning a phone. By looking at these 3 layers of cost, we can start to understand the full picture. Is the iPhone truly a good deal, or is it a hidden expense that costs more than you first see? 2. The free phone lie. Before the iPhone, the world of mobile phones was very different. Many years ago, in the 1990s and 2000s, phone companies had a special way of selling phones. They would often tell customers, "Get a free phone today." This offer sounded great to many people. But this free phone came with a catch. You had to sign a long contract, usually for 2 years. Companies like AT&T, Verizon, and Sprint would give you a phone, but its real cost was hidden. It was not truly free. Instead, the money for the phone was added to your monthly service bill. So, your bill for talking and texting might be around $40. But if you got a free phone, your bill could be much higher, sometimes $80 each month. You paid $0 for the phone at the start, but you paid a lot more every month. Over the 2-year contract, this added up to a big amount, sometimes nearly $2,000. The phone companies wanted to make sure you stayed with them. If you ended your contract early, you had to pay a large fee. This way of selling phones taught people something important, but not true. It taught them that phones were cheap or even free. People focused on the zero cost when they first got the phone. They did not think about the total money they would pay over the 2 years. They started to see phones as a simple extra that came with phone service, not as an expensive piece of technology. This thinking made it easy for people to believe phones cost very little. This way of selling phones was a clever trick. It changed how everyone thought about the price of a phone. It made people used to not paying much up front. This whole situation was like setting a stage. It prepared the world for a big change that was coming. Soon, a new company would arrive with a very different kind of phone. This phone would not be free. It would be quite expensive, and it would change everything. 3. A new expensive phone. On January 9, 2007, Steve Jobs showed the world the first iPhone. It was a new kind of phone, and its price was a big surprise. The original iPhone cost $499 for the smallest model and $599 for a larger one. People also needed a 2-year contract with AT&T. This was a very high price for a phone at that time. Other smartphones often seemed cheaper because their cost was hidden in monthly bills. Many experts thought the iPhone would not sell well because it was so expensive. But Steve Jobs had a smart plan. By making the first iPhone so costly, Apple made it a luxury item. It was not just a phone, it was something special. This idea stayed in people's minds. Later, Apple started selling new iPhones for $199. This price started with the iPhone 3G in 2008. It made the phones seem much cheaper, even though the total cost with the service plan was still high. This $199 price became famous. You would see it in many advertisements. It made millions of people think they were getting a great deal on a premium phone. This strategy worked for a long time, for 6 different iPhone models, up to the iPhone 6 in 2014. Each new iPhone had that same $199 starting price. But behind this price, Apple was asking phone companies for more money for each phone. The phone companies then put these costs into the monthly service plans. It was getting harder for phone companies to keep giving away phones so cheaply. Around 2013, things began to change. Phone companies like T-Mobile stopped hiding the cost of the phone in monthly bills. They started showing people the real price of the phone and letting them pay for it over time. This change happened more between 2014 and 2017. Suddenly, people saw the full price of an iPhone. For example, the iPhone 6 cost $649. The iPhone X in 2017 cost $999. This was a big shock for many people. They were used to paying $199, but now they saw the true, much higher cost up front. This made every new iPhone feel expensive, even if the total cost over 2 years was similar to before. The time of the free or very cheap phone was over. 4. A phone that stays valuable. The iPhone has a special quality. It keeps its value for a long time. Many other phones lose their value very quickly, but iPhones do not. This makes the iPhone cheaper to own in the long run than some people think. To understand the true cost of a phone, we use something called total cost of ownership, or TCO. TCO is not just the price you pay when you buy the phone. It is also how much money you get back when you sell it later. For example, if you buy a phone for $799 and sell it later for $500, your real cost was only $299. This way of thinking helps us see the full picture. When we look at TCO, the iPhone does very well. After 1 year, many iPhones still hold more than 60% of their original value. This is much better than most Android phones. For instance, some popular Android phones can lose more than half their value in the first year alone. After 2 years, an iPhone might still be worth 40 to 50% of its first price. Many other phones are only worth 20 to 30%. Let's compare. An iPhone 17 that costs $799 might be worth about $503 after 1 year. So, the cost to own it for that first year is only $296. Now, think about a good Android phone that costs around $899. It might lose much more value. If you sell it after 1 year, your total cost could be around $500 or more. This means owning an iPhone can save you hundreds of dollars over time. This is why selling your old iPhone is a smart move. The money you get back makes buying your next iPhone much more affordable. Instead of paying the full price for a new phone every few years, you use the money from your old phone to lower the cost of the new one. This way, the iPhone becomes a device that is not just expensive to buy, but also valuable to keep and sell. 5. Why an old iPhone is a good iPhone. A main reason iPhones keep their value is Apple's long software support. Apple gives new software updates for iPhones for 5 to 7 years after they are first sold. These updates make sure phones stay safe and work well. For example, an iPhone 6s came out in 2015. It still got its last major update in 2022. That is 7 years of software support. This long support keeps older iPhones useful and wanted by buyers. Android phones usually get updates for only 2 or 3 years. After that, they might not be safe to use, which makes them lose value faster. The good quality of the phone's parts also helps. iPhones are made with strong materials like special aluminum and ceramic shield glass. These materials help the phones look good for a longer time. Inside, Apple designs the hardware and software to work together very well. This means iPhones stay fast and reliable for many years. Businesses often buy used iPhones because they are known to be dependable and get long support. This makes older iPhones a good choice for people who want a phone that lasts. Also, the Apple brand itself is strong. Many people want an iPhone because it is seen as a good product. This strong brand helps old iPhones keep their value. Even iPhones that are 3 years old can be sold for a good price. Features like iMessage and FaceTime are also important. They make it hard for people to switch to other phone brands, which helps keep a demand for used iPhones. There is a big market all over the world for used iPhones. People can sell their old iPhones easily on websites and through phone companies. Apple sells a large part of all used phones. This shows how popular old iPhones are. In many countries, especially where people have less money, old iPhones are a good way to get a quality smartphone. People in these places often choose an old iPhone over new, cheaper Android phones because of its quality and trusted name. This global demand helps keep the price of used iPhones high. All these things mean an old iPhone can be a very good phone for a long time. 6. More ways to pay Apple. We have learned about the first price of an iPhone and how it keeps its value. But your payments to Apple often continue long after you buy the phone. Apple has created a special system often called a walled garden. This system makes you pay for more things over time, which can make the iPhone much more expensive in the long run. One of the main ways you keep paying Apple is through the App Store. When you buy a new app, or when you buy things inside an app, like new levels in a game or special features, Apple takes a part of that money. This is called a commission, and some people call it the Apple tax. Apple usually gets between 15 and 30% of these payments. For just one app, it might seem like a very small amount. But many iPhone users spend money on various apps and in-app purchases throughout the year. Over 5 to 7 years, these small commissions can add up to hundreds of dollars that go directly to Apple. This money is often hidden in the price of what you buy, so you might not always notice it. Another cost comes from special accessories. Apple often designs its phones with unique ports and connectors. This means you usually cannot use standard cables or chargers that work with other devices. Instead, you need to buy Apple's own cables, chargers, and headphones. These official Apple accessories can be more expensive than similar items from other brands. For example, a basic charging cable from Apple might cost around $20. Also, wireless headphones like AirPods, which work very well with iPhones, can be quite costly. Even cases and other phone helpers often work best when they are made for Apple products. Finally, monthly subscriptions are a big and growing part of what users pay to Apple. Many iPhone owners pay for extra storage in iCloud. Apple gives you some free space, but with all the photos and videos we take, this free space often runs out quickly. So, you pay a small amount each month for more storage. Other popular services you might subscribe to are Apple Music for songs and Apple TV Plus for shows and movies. There's also Apple Arcade for games and Apple Fitness Plus for exercise classes. These payments, like 99 cents for iCloud or more for other services, seem small each month. However, a typical iPhone user might spend over $170 every year just on Apple's subscription services. Over several years, these subscription costs can easily go over $1,000. These extra costs show that the first price of the iPhone is only the beginning. Apple has created many ways for users to keep paying for its services and products, making the total cost of owning an iPhone much higher than many people first realize. 7. It is hard to leave Apple. Apple makes it difficult for people to stop using their products. This is known as the lock-in effect. It means that once you have an iPhone, switching to another phone brand becomes hard. There are several reasons for this. One big reason is iMessage. iPhone users see blue message bubbles when they text each other. If you text an Android user, your message appears in a green bubble. This difference can create social pressure. Some people feel out of place with green bubbles, so they stay with iPhone. Your personal data also plays a big role. Photos and videos are often saved in iCloud, Apple's cloud storage. Moving all these photos to a new Android phone can be difficult. The way they are stored can make transfers hard. The same applies to music playlists from Apple Music. If you use an Apple Watch, it collects much health data. This important information is saved in the Apple Health app. Moving years of this data to a different phone system is often very hard, sometimes impossible. People do not want to lose their health records. Also, apps bought from the App Store cannot be used on an Android phone. This means you would need to buy them again or find new ones, losing money. Apple also uses special, often expensive cables and accessories. Your old Apple accessories might not work with a new phone if you switch. Lastly, fixing an iPhone can be costly. Replacing a screen or back glass often costs a lot of money. Because official repairs are expensive, some users might choose to buy a new iPhone instead of repairing their old one. Or they might buy AppleCare Plus, an annual service for repairs which keeps them paying into the Apple system. All these factors combined make it truly hard to leave Apple's world. 8. So, is the iPhone a good deal? We have learned much about the iPhone's real costs. Now we must ask the big question: is the iPhone a good deal? The answer is not simple. It can be one of the cheapest phones to own over time, or it can be one of the most expensive. This depends on how you use it and how you manage its related costs. One good thing about iPhones is their long life. Apple provides software updates for 5 to 7 years. This keeps the phone safe and working well for many years. This longer life is good for the environment because it means less electronic waste. Also, iPhones keep their value much better than most other smartphones. If you choose to sell your old iPhone when you upgrade, you can get a good amount of money back. This money makes your next iPhone purchase much more affordable. Users who understand this can save a lot, sometimes paying less each year than for many Android phones. However, the iPhone also comes with hidden costs from its walled garden system. This system makes it hard for users to switch to other brands. You might often need to buy Apple's own accessories, which can be expensive. Think about special cables or chargers. Many people also pay for Apple services every month, like extra storage for photos or streaming music and TV shows. These small monthly payments add up to hundreds or even thousands of dollars over the years. This can limit choices from other companies and make the total cost much higher. So, while the phone itself might be cheap to own if you plan well, the ecosystem can become very costly. This creates a kind of two-tier economy for iPhone users. Some users are very smart about their choices. They know about how much value their iPhone keeps. They sell their old phones and only pay for the services they truly need. For these users, an iPhone can be an excellent deal, costing only a few $100s each year. But other users just look at the first price tag. They might buy many expensive accessories, sign up for many services, and keep their old phones in a drawer instead of selling them. For these users, the iPhone can cost $8,000 to $12,000 over 10 years. In the end, the iPhone's real cost is not just what you see on the price tag. It depends on your choices and how well you manage your phone and its services. It's about being a smart user. After hearing all this, do you think your iPhone is worth the price? And what do you do to lower its cost?
Hey there! Just a second before you go. If you learned something new today, please give this video a like, write your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel. It only takes a second, and it really, really helps to create even better English videos for you. Your support means the world. Thank you.